Here's what Angela Davis said about diversity. I have a hard time accepting diversity as a synonym for justice. Diversity is a corporate strategy. It's a strategy that ensures that an institution continues to function exactly the same way as it functioned before. Only now you have some black and brown faces. It's a difference that doesn't make a difference. It's a difference that doesn't make a difference. I wrote 2 books. One of them I completed in 2020. I sent that manuscript to over 80 literary agents. I either got rejections or I didn't hear back, which is another form of rejection. The second book I completed last summer, 2024. Since then, I have sent that manuscript to over 80 literary agents and to no avail. Both of my books are memoirs, and both of them touch on my experience as an asylum seeker in the United States. Here is why this is sad. The publishing industry is probably the only industry in the United States that is dominated by women. Over 90% of literary agents are women. Sadly, most of these literary agents are white middle-class women. When you go and read the profiles of these literary agents, they all brag about their Ivy League education. They all say they have 20 or 25 years of experience in the publishing world. They all care about diversity. They all want to receive manuscripts from women of color, and they all want to elevate marginalized voices. And they all want to read something different, something new, something fresh, something they've never read before. When my first book got so many rejections, I just said to myself, I'm a terrible writer. Nobody wants to publish me. But now I won Ohio's Excellence Award for Writing, so I know I can write. I also know that all the rejections I'm receiving is not due to bad writing, because bad books are being published every single day. Here's a bad book that you and I have read numerous times. It's also been adapted in so many terrible movies, TV shows, and theater plays. This book is always written by a white middle-class woman about a white middle-class woman. Her name is usually Susan, Kathy, or Meredith. She's standing in her huge house in the suburbs. She's talking to her white middle-class husband, and she's saying, "Look at what we created," pointing at her grown children who are doing something in the yard or getting married or whatever. This is moments before her shitty husband confesses that he's been fucking his 25-year-old secretary, and the family then falls apart. I guess it's good that white middle-class women writers are constantly reminding us that men are garbage, but if literary agents are saying that they want to read something new, something fresh, something that they've never read before, then why do we continue to see and read this banal, disconnected, chewed-up story? Literary agents are powerful. They are powerful because they decide what we read, and thus what we think. They have the power to shape the minds of generations. So why are they wasting our time with this silly woman who says, "Look at what we created," as if having unprotected sex is some kind of achievement? With so many women today decentering men from their lives and kicking ass in all areas of life, why are we still reading the story of this entitled, privileged middle-class woman? This silly woman whose life is upended because of a shitty man. The fact that we are still reading this book while so many interesting and profound stories by women of color are ignored and never published doesn't only harm marginalized women authors. It also harms white middle-class women. Because is that all white middle-class women are? Mothers and deceived wives? These literary agents believe that the only books that sell are books written by white middle-class women about white middle-class women, because they also believe that the majority of readers are white middle-class women. That's not true. It's the other way around. White middle-class women make up the majority of readers because you have catered to them and only them. If you publish books that are more relevant to people of color, by people of color, and did a good job at promoting and marketing these books, you will find that people of color read more widely than white readers. The idea that white middle-class women only read books written by other white middle-class women is also untrue. Because if it was true, authors like Khaled Hosseini, an Afghani-American writer who wrote The Kite Runner, would not be a best-selling author. Literary agents like to believe that there can only be one Khaled Hosseini, but that's only because they refuse to give women of color a platform. In previous videos, I talked about how men deliberately keep women down by giving the crumbs of opportunities to a selected few. White middle-class women do the same thing to women of color by showing that they can only represent the selected few. But when women oppress other women, it's always worse than when men oppress women. Because white middle-class women know what it's like not to have a seat at the table. They know what it means to be excluded. They know what it means to not have platform and not have voice. And to the white middle-class author who keeps writing, "Look at what we created," and keeps having her novels called New York bestsellers, how can it really feel like success if the only reason you are succeeding is because so many good and profound stories written by women of color are being suppressed? The truth is that white middle-class women are threatened by the potential of women of color. They know that women of color are more talented than them, so they continue to suppress our stories. Toni Morrison said, "If you can only feel tall when someone else is on their knees, then you have a serious problem."